Hi, we are group 13. Today we are going to do experiment 6, fluid mixing. In this experiment, there is 3 sections, section A, section B, and section C. In section A, we are going to study the effect of changing the type of impeller and study the fluid mixing pattern using the beads. And then for part B, we want to study the effect of baffle installation. We want to study the baffle installation. We put inside and see the mixing pattern when we install this baffle. And for part C, we want to study the effect of impeller shaft position when we change the height at 5, 10, and 15 cm. We want to study the mixing pattern at different heights. So for part C, the procedures are we use different mountings, impellers. We use a half-mounted flat blade impeller, and for the second one, we use dismounted flat blade impeller with a variation of RPM at 100 to 500, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500 RPM at different ones, with the beads inside, and record the observation of the fluid mixing pattern. So we take the impeller and mount it at this rod, screw it in. For the first part, we use the half mount flat blade impeller. Half mount, right? The difference is half mount and dismount. So we use the half mount. Put here, put inside, screw it in. Okay, make sure it's tight. Then fill the tank should be filled until 25 height. Okay, 25 cm height. Okay, and then put inside the beads, which I already put it inside already. You see, it's the beads using red beads. And then once you make sure the height of the impeller is at 10 cm. Once it's at 10 cm, you have to make sure adjust it if it's not. Okay, make sure it's 10 cm, and then change the RPM to 100, and then with a variation 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500, and then record the fluid mixing pattern. That is all. Thank you.
And one thing I'd like to mention is that this has to be at the center. Alright.
Okay, for the second part of this experiment is we are using the same pattern, the same setup for the experiment, but we are choosing only one pattern, only one impeller that we need to test for. So for the second part of the experiment, we are going to see the pattern, the water pattern, the fluid pattern with the presence of vessel and without the presence of vessel. So basically, the procedure are the same. We are going to choose the impeller and stick it at the rod, and then we plug it into the engine, and we are going to start this engine with different RPM, which is 100 RPM, 200 RPM, 300 RPM, and 400 RPM, and lastly 500 RPM. And then we are going to monitor the pattern of the fluid by observing the pattern of the beads flow in the water. And this experiment are repeated by using without using the vessel. Okay. So for the last part of this experiment, for the third part experiment, we are going to manipulate the height of the impeller, which is 5 cm, 10 cm, and 50 cm. So how we are gonna manipulate the height? We are going to adjust this part of the engine. Here. You can see this part of this mechanism. We just adjust to make it according to our manipulate variable, which is 5 cm, 10 cm, and 15 cm. And then we are going to observe what is the pattern of the fluid flow in the tank by observing the movement of beads inside the tank. Okay, that's all from our team. Thank you.